Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new Thoughts on series. Today we're going to talk about trade-in values at GameStop. So one of the things that I really like to do in the past, especially in the 90s and early 2000s when I actually grew up, is actually buy video games. And then once I was done with those video games, sometimes if I didn't like the game or if I just wanted to get rid of the game, I would trade it into GameStop. And one of the things that GameStop used to offer that they don't offer anymore was they used to offer cash for video games. Now as the modern era came up, they started doing trade-in value, especially credit for in-store items. And so no longer do you have the option to actually get cash for the video games that you actually brought into the store, whereas in the past they would actually do that. And I think that one of the things that's missing in modern day video games is the fact they always buy these video games under value and then they actually raise the price of the used games in their stores. So let's say that you brought in something like Marvel Ultimate Alliance like I did when I was a kid. They would buy it for like $15 or something like that and upsell it to like $30 later on. And it's basically like a pawn shop where they take trade-in games for a lot less of a value than they would for the customer, and then ultimately they would go back and resell it at a higher price. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of got sick of when I actually realized what GameStop was doing, was that they were taking these traded values, they were giving you less money, but then going back and selling these video games and console systems at a higher price than they would give you sort of in the store. And so that's one of the reasons why I no longer really trade in my games. I no longer actually give GameStop my consoles when I'm done with them, or I don't really use them anymore. I basically hold on to this stuff forever because I like preserving physical media. I like collecting physical media, and I think that the art of collecting physical media is still important even in the year of 2023. And I think that once you realize, like myself, that some of this stuff might actually not be able to be recovered in the future, especially if they end up going all digital, that having sort of a physical Blu-ray collection, whether that video games, movies, or even just keeping your older consoles, is something that's going to be really valuable for you in the future, especially if you like to maintain this stuff in good quality like myself. There's so many times where I want to kind of go back and replay a video game on sort of older generation consoles, and because in the past that I used to sell them to at a garage sale, I don't really have that option anymore. And I know that I can actually go out and rebuy some of these systems and buy some of the video games, even though that retro game collecting is really going up in terms of the price tag, because the prices of some of these video games that they're actually trying to sell for retro games is absolutely insane. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really trade or sell in my video games at GameStop. When I buy stuff, I like to keep it and I like to have access to that for a very, very long time. And that's one of the reasons why I think that you guys should definitely stop doing sort of the trade-in value at GameStop. I think that it's basically going to give you less money for more that they're going to charge people eventually once they eventually do sell for their used copies. And GameStop gets a kickback every time that somebody buys a used game from them, but they make more money off of used games than they do new, because the new games actually, when you buy those new, go back to the retailers and the people that produce the video games, whereas GameStop doesn't really get that much money back. And I think that's one of the reasons why they push used games a lot more than actual new games. There's a long time ago where I went to go buy Halo the Master Chief Collection, and they basically lied to me. They told me that they didn't have any new copies of Halo MCC in stores, and I basically called Best Buy and I'm like, hey, you guys have this video game in your store? And they're like, yeah, we do. You can actually stop by and just pick it up and you'll be fine. And so I basically went over there instead of actually going to GameStop, where they basically tried to force me to buy a used game, which I don't really like buying used games anyway, just because of the fact that they could be scratched, damaged, or broken. And when I try and play it later on, and then your game is not going to be running properly like it should. Whereas if you maintain and keep your disc kind of cleaned and not scratched, and you don't use them as coasters, you're going to have a really fun time in the future going back and replaying some of these titles and these games that you grew up loving over time. Even if these games are bad, I like to keep them in really good condition, just because of the fact that I don't know if I'm going to end up making a review for them or not. And that's just one of the reasons why I like to keep my stuff, whether I like the video games or not. It's kind of reasons why if I buy a video game and it's bad, I will still keep it, just because of the fact that I might make a video out of it down the line. And so I think that buying used games could be a good thing for people that are just starting out, that are just trying to get into collecting video games, whether that's retro or new stuff, just because of the fact that you are able to kind of get a lower price for these titles than if you were to pay them, at $70. But I think for the average collector, especially someone such as myself, we like to get our games new just because we know that they don't have scratches in the disc, they're not broken, they're not damaged, and we're going to be basically getting these games at launch the way they're intended, and that way we have them forever if we so choose, or if we want to kind of give it away to a friend or a family member, or just kind of sell it at a garage sale, we definitely can. So those are one of the reasons why I think that you should not be doing sort of the trade-in value. I don't think it's worth it. I don't think you get that much money out of it, especially in the past when I actually went to go and sell my PSP. The PS4 was coming out and I kind of want to have some trade-in value to kind of get a new console. I know I wasn't going to get exactly what I paid for it when the PSP first came out, because the console itself was used. I thought I could maybe get at least $50 to maybe $100 at most, but they want to give me lower than the price that I paid for it. And I'm like, well, if I'm only going to get this amount of money, then it's not really worth it for me in the end to kind of sell it to you anyway. So that's why I decided to keep it. I don't currently have my PSP anymore, just because of the fact that I've done several different moves moves, and unfortunately I lost my PSP in the process. I bet if I dug around in some boxes I'd probably be able to find it, but it already had issues with sort of the joystick where it was kind of just going to one side. I think it's drift is what they call it, but I really like that system. I really do like some of my other video game systems that I've collected over the years, and maybe I'll start talking about those and my experiences with them on this channel, just because of the fact that I like mixing the movie and video game stuff together, because I think they go hand in hand. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of GameStop and their trade-in values. I really don't like sort of their trade-in values. I think they're kind of weak, and I think they could give you a little bit more than what they're giving you in terms of, you know, when you sell a game to them, they could give you guys a little bit more in-store cash, so that way that you guys could go and purchase the latest video games, the latest merchandise that are in their shop that you want to collect. But those are just my thoughts and opinions of the GameStop in-store trade-in values, and why I think that it's not really that big of a deal, and why you shouldn't really be doing that anymore. I'm not trying to bash GameStop constantly in these videos. I'm just stating why I don't really do it anymore, why I don't really like the trade-in values. But if you like doing that, if you like trading your games, that's totally within your right to kind of go do that. Those are just my thoughts and opinions about this in the video itself. So as always, guys, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more, please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.